Welcome back, everyone! Today we are going to present to you a retrospective of the modern art movements from 1860 to 1970. We will notice that each movement reacts, is linked or opposed to another. Let's explore!
Impressionism is both an aesthetic and a movement. It appeared in France in the 1860s in opposition to academic art. Impressionists rebelled against classical subject matter and desired to create works that reflect the world in which they lived. That's why Impressionist art is more often expressed in landscape paintings and scenes of modern life, which emphasizes the visual sensation and instant expression of light effects.
The term post-impressionism is therefore a necessarily vague and plural name which encompasses dozens of currents and styles. A term that applied first to Paul Cézanne in the 1880s. It's not a conscious and unitary movement, but a state of mind obtained in Europe next to Impressionism.
Then, we have Symbolism, an artistic movement of French origin that developed in the 1870s. Symbolist works are inspired by spirituality, imagination, and dreams. The main characteristics of the symbolisms are the image of the woman, the opposition to realism, the effective mythological, biblical, or legendary subjects, and a precision of the drawing. Expressionism developed between 1900 and 1925 in Germany. Expressionism does not seek to show the world as it is, but to express it as the artists feel it or want us to feel it. The shapes and the colors are brutal, sometimes violent, and even shocking.
Fauvism appeared at the same time as Expressionism at the beginning of the 19th century. The two movements go into dialogue. Les Fauves used very vibrant colors, which were really provocative during this period. They didn't want to represent realistic values. The creations are figurative but using simplified shapes, and Fauvism lends color the tone of an emotion and a sensation.
Cubism was one of the great modern movements of the early 20th century, developed by Pablo Picasso and George Braque. The artist seeks to represent on the canvas a three-dimensional object, observed from all points of view at the same time. The reality of conception exceeds the reality of vision.
Futurism started in the 20th century and centered in Italy that emphasized the dynamism, speed, energy and power of the machine, but also the vitality that changed the restlessness of modern life. This movement is characterized by very colorful works with geometric shape, associating many paintings with the evolution of cities and in particular by the Industrial Revolution.
So now we're gonna talk about the Dada movement. Dadaism was an informal art movement with participants in Europe and North America in the early 20th century. The movement consists of artists who reject the logic, reason, and aestheticism of modern capitalist society. Artists like Jean Arc or Salvador Dali expressed their discontent toward violence, war, or nationalism. Surrealism was a cultural movement which developed in Europe in the aftermath of World War I and was largely influenced by Dada. The movement is best known for its visual artwork and writing. Artists paint illogical scenes, sometimes with photographic precision, creating strange creatures from everyday objects.
Abstract Expressionism is an American artistic movement. The aim is to emphasize spontaneous, automatic, or unconscious creation. On the technical point of view, we observe a driving paint with marked brush strokes, razor dull, varied and above all mixed color. It is not longer the painter who directs the brush, but the brush which directs the painter.
Now let's approach a movement partly inspired by Futurism, the optical art, also called op art. It developed during the 60s with the main goal of illustrating the movement on rigid supports. Op artists used abstract graphic elements. They played with the vision of the public thanks to science. They based their creation on physical laws concerning colors and contrasts.
Pop art is an artistic movement that emerged in the UK and US in the mid to late 50s. It's often found in the communication media of the time, such as advertising, comics, and worldly objects produced in series. One of his goals is to use image of popular culture in art, most often through the use of irony. This movement is essentially defined by the reproduced color and various portraits.
And the journey, unfortunately, already finishes. To put it in a nutshell, the 19th and the 20th century were really rich in creativity. A lot of various messages and movements spread during this period, and they still influence our contemporary creation. See you soon for a new video!